Boom, just like that, we're back again. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the show. And as always, I'm your host, David Burrows. Hope you're doing well. It feels like it was longer than a week since we last hung out together. I don't know why. That's weird. But here we are, right? I guess. And that's all that really matters is that we are here. So, and look at things going wrong already. Let me fix something here. And then, okay, I'm good. I don't have to do that all over again, do I? Wherever you're watching from, I'd appreciate you saying hello in the comments. We are live in about 5 different places. On my Facebook page, we're live in the group now. I go live in the group. If you comment watching this, if you're watching this in the Facebook group, that's great. If you make a comment there, I won't see your name. It'll just say Facebook user. I don't know why Facebook does that. Facebook does funny things. It's their Facebook. I guess they can do whatever the heck they want. But if you want me to see your comments and know that it's you, come on over to the Show with David Burrows page and say hello there. Also live on YouTube and also live on Twitter/Periscope. Yeah, Bill, I see you there. How's it going, Bill? Hello, back to you, Billy Y. And David Loomis says, hi, Dave, great show. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so here's the example. Somebody's saying, good afternoon, David. That means you're watching this in the Facebook group. Maybe I shouldn't go live there. Maybe I should just go live on that page. Whoever's saying good afternoon, David, thank you. I don't know who you are because it just says Facebook user. Come on over to the Show with David Burrows page, and I'll know who you are. It's confusing, right? Like, I know what it means. Like, but I was talking to somebody the other day. They wanted me to see something. She said, they said, just go to my Facebook page. And I was like, you have a page? For what? And they're like, Facebook. And so it's your Facebook profile or your personal Facebook timeline is you. And then there are pages. And then there's groups. And I get it. It's confusing, right? Don't expect everybody to know all that stuff. So whoever you are, good afternoon. Back to you, wherever you are. Billy Urchuk. We're going to be talking. He's I won't be talking with him. We fired him for this time. We're bringing somebody else on. Lord Domingos will be joining me a little bit later on. Really big announcement, an exciting announcement for Lambton Elderly Outreach. And my friend Ryan. Ryan, good times, buddy. Good times. And we'll have to do that again soon. And it's motorcycle weather, too. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened over the weekend there. But if you're just joining me, happy Monday again. And I'm going to give you a COVID-19 update. This is as of last evening. I know there was an update this morning that I missed. But as of last evening, 263 cases, 201 recovered, and 22 deaths. I believe the deaths has jumped to 23 as of this morning, unfortunately. So how are you feeling with all? I ask this question every week, and the reason I ask the same question every week is because every week seems to be changing, right? The Ford government, Ontario government, our Premier Doug Ford, talking about the electricity rates, right? And tiered, and you get to choose when, I don't know, go on the government website and find out about it. But something to do with the electricity. There's my accurate news update. Something to do with the electricity. And okay, so Barry, I'm guessing that was you over in the group. Good afternoon to you, sir. Saw you earlier today. If you missed the broadcast with my friend Stephen Healy, that I do every Monday at 12 o'clock. He's in the United Kingdom. And we've had a friendship for over 3 years now, but we've been doing our show for 3 years. Wow. Time is time going fast with all this COVID-19? Is it going slower or faster? I don't know. To get proper and accurate updates, so of course I always encourage people to get it from the horse's mouth. In other words, go to lambtonpublichealth.ca to get your local medical updates. Or Blue Water Health, right? And if you want to know what else is happening locally as far as COVID-19, what is closed, what is open, what you can, what you cannot, all that stuff, again, horse's mouth, go to sarnia.ca to get that information. And then you've got the accurate information. And there's also keeping in mind, as the government is loosening the reins, if you will, there's still something you got to remember. What's that on the screen there? Social distancing still a must. We've got to social distance. And I guess the word is, if you believe that you're going out into the community and social distancing may be a challenge, wear a mask. That's what my understanding is of it. And I know there's a lot of debate on do masks do anything? My understanding is yes. If you're wearing a mask, it's preventing you from spreading it if you have it. It does not protect you from getting it, is my understanding. I'm not the medical professional, obviously, but I read that on an official site. Okay, so let's keep social distancing out there. And if you're a business owner, I'm sure you've got lots of questions. I think I told a story last week of I had my experience with calling 1-800 answer my questions. That's how I'll say it. And I got some vague answers, as it was written vaguely on the government's website, as to whether or not I was an essential service. At the end of the day, they told me I get to decide if I'm an essential service. Okay. There's phone numbers you can call for that too. Business owners with questions concerning their essential business status, call the hotline. I didn't get all the answers I was looking for, I'll be honest, but I'm not putting it down. It's nice to have access to answer those questions, because everybody reads the websites differently. Keeping in mind when you call these numbers, the folks that are working hard on the other end of the phone line, they are not lawyers, but they have been trained to handle your questions. And honestly, I was pleasantly surprised at how quickly I got through. I did, like, the phone rang. I was on hold for maybe 30 seconds. I was quite surprised. I know they installed a whole bunch more phone lines because of the demand, but it's good to have that there. And of course, you can always go to the website there on your screen as well. And I will continue to do the Premier of Ontario broadcasts. I'm very grateful that the Premier's office has allowed me to simulcast their broadcasts, so it's a little closer to home as well. And good, accurate information in there also. All right. What am I doing? That's what I'm doing. Had a lot of fun over the weekend, boy, I tell you. For those of you who may not know, I am a motorcycle rider enthusiast, and of course, so the nice weather coming along is very attractive to folks like me who own two wheels. And I also put it out there, please remember that motorcycles are on the road, and be aware, as do motorcycle riders need to be aware of what's going on and following all the rules as well. But I had an idea last week, and I'll say I copied the idea from the Sarnia Street Machines, who had gone out and done a drive around the city, going past all the long-term care homes, which I thought was fantastic. And it had been on my mind for a while. And years ago, there used to be a motorcycle safety ride. And it hasn't happened in many years. I don't know how many. And I believe that there was a gentleman by the name of Ken McDonald who was a rider. I don't know who he was, but I keep hearing that name, that did the safety ride years ago. And so I thought, well, why don't we do a ride of respect? And at the same time, giving the respect to frontline workers, as well as we got the respect back and created the awareness of motorcycles are on the road. So the Ride of Respect, the inaugural event, we started at Oswald's, all social distancing. I was very proud of the 100 riders that showed up to do this ride this past Saturday that we did. A 50-kilometer drive through the city. And I had contacted Sarnia Police Services and informed them of what we were doing, and they were fine as long as we were social distancing, which everybody did. I was very proud of that fact. And we drove by all the long-term care homes, Blue Water Health. We were near the correctional facility as well, Lambton Public Health, Sarnia Police, Sarnia Fire, Lambton EMS. We made sure we got everybody, as much as we could, included in the 50-kilometer ride. People were coming out of the long-term care facilities, those that could. I had called all of them, out waving at us. We slowed down to make sure we could toot our horns, and Every once in a while, we might have given a little rum, especially when the little kids were outside. We went through Point Edward as well to pay respect to the OPP and the Sarnia Fire, or the Point Edward Fire there as well. And Mother Nature showed up too. Thank goodness, because it was the inaugural ride, and it's blown up all over social media. I'm so proud of the fact that we were able to do this. And when I say we, I might have come up with the idea and been a part of the organizing. But I really have to say special thank you to my friend Pam Scott, who is part of the CMC Riders Sarnia chapter and has been a rider for many years and had lots of experience doing these kind of things. So I reached out to her and said, can you please help me with this? And she was happy to do that. CMC Sarnia, Lady Luck Riders, and CMC from London came down. There might have been a couple from Chatham. And thank you to Oswald's Diner, because we started out in their parking lot on Plank Road, and it was a safe ride. And I've got pictures. I have pictures. How do I do that? Self-producing. There we go. Yeah, that's my baby there, the first one there on the left-hand side. And this was the crew, if you will. Some pretty motorcycles showed up. Was pretty happy with that as well. And coming through, I believe that's coming through Point Edward there. And there's coming by the hospital as well. That's Pam in the front, and there's Jennifer and I in the second. It's a really cool thing when you look back and seeing all these motorcycles coming around the corner, and it's pretty loud too. So we were glad to do that. And big, huge thank you to my friend Barry Loxton, who took the pictures. Jason Baker was out there taking pictures as well. They really had a challenge because they took the pictures of us leaving, and then they had to get in their cars, and they were driving to all the locations ahead of us to capture us coming down the road. So huge collaborative effort, and it's going to be an annual event. Already making plans for next year, so glad for that. Who else is out there? Hey, Dom, how are you? Nice to see you. Yeah, so that was an exciting day for sure. So thank you to everybody involved. Made me really happy. It might have had a little tear joy coming down my eye there that day to know that we were able to pull this off safely. So, and I actually this morning received a phone call from Sarnia Police thanking us and thanking us for not only putting it on, but being safe out there as well. So, and Mayor Bradley actually took some pictures and sent them to me as well. So, community all together. All right, enough for that. Let's move on. Lots happening in the community as always, and people are being creative, that's for sure. I'm going the wrong way here. I hate self-producing. I'm just putting that out there. There we go. My producer's gone today. And people are being creative and adapting to things that are going on in the community. And there you go. My first guest just disappeared. What happened? It's a technical world today. So this is a point where I have to stall, right? That I could not have said anything and just kept going, and then I would have to stall. I may have to jump ahead to my next guest, which, let's see what's Barry saying here. Awesome event. Yeah, I appreciate you helping out there, Barry. Okay, I am going to jump ahead to my next guest from the county, because they're sitting in there ready. I don't know what happened to my first guest. Hopefully they figure that out. And here we go. I hope you're ready. Oh, there we go. How are you? Boy, what a fun technical world we live in today.
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm doing very good. Darlene Koch and Andrew Meyer from the county. Thanks for joining me here today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. How is your world as far as you hear me talking about having to adapt?
Well, definitely there's been adaptation in our service, that's for sure. And today we're hoping to share with the community an exciting new adaptation. We've looked to innovate, to respond to the province's framework regarding the reopening of the province. And one of the ways we're doing that is offering contactless curbside pickup service. And David, you called up a graphic there that we're using in a lot of our promotions and signage at each of the branch locations, where we will be offering curbside pickup. So starting next week, June the 8th, we plan to offer curbside pickup service at 13 Lambton County Library locations, of course, in compliance with the provincial regulations. And so we've been working with staff. Staff returned this week. Part of our staff team was reactivated, and we've undertaken some training to get them prepared and to follow the guidelines that have been set out by the province with respect to curbside pickup service. And we're actively preparing to offer that to the public starting on Monday.
Yeah, well, and this has been, I know this has been in the planning stages for some time, right? I would imagine that there was a lot of thought that had to go into this. And then, of course, hopefully getting it right, because then the government might change the rules.
A lot of careful thought and planning. And as you know, libraries have been closed under provincial order since March the 17th. So over the last few weeks, we've been preparing for and anticipating how we could reopen safely. And Darlene has certainly been instrumental in leading the planning, so maybe she can speak to some of that.
Yeah, hi, Darlene. Thanks for being here as well. And you just want to tell everybody what your role is with the county.
Sure. Hi, David. I manage the library services for the county. So we do have 25 locations throughout Lambton County, stretching in all corners from Grand Bend down to Port Lambton and across to Shetland and up to Point Edward. So we do have great coverage across the county. That being said, for curbside service, as we are slowly beginning this service, and it is a new way of doing business for us, we just want to proceed with some caution, and we're starting with just 13 sites for contactless curbside service, and that would begin on June 8th, as Andrew has said. So we're asking people that if they are interested in borrowing some materials from us, books or DVDs, that they can go online to our website at www.lclibrary.ca, and they can place their own reservations. If they know the title of the book or the DVD they want, they could call a library that offers curbside service. Or if they would like some help figuring out what they might like to read and would like some staff suggestions, they're welcome to call a reader's advisory line that we've set up. And that number is 519-337-3291, extension 5909, or a toll-free option of 1-866-324-6912, again, extension 5909, and that service begins on Monday.
Yeah, I would imagine that so many people are going to be grateful for this because, libraries, I would imagine we take for granted our libraries in our area a lot of times, and having to adapt, before all of this COVID-19 to taking things online and now having to readapt that again. But a lot of people rely on you for these services, I would think.
For sure. Our libraries are great sources of entertainment and also education. And we did see during the more restrictive phases when people were under more significant isolation, we did have great use of the electronic library. So we had some of our highest ever checkouts of ebooks and e-audiobooks. We had some off-the-charts usage of Ancestry Online, which is free until June 30th. We had great usage of e-courses, so electronic courses online. And we did see great user statistics regarding those electronic services. Now, mind you, there's always the segment of the population that prefers having that book in their hands, that physical book that they can leaf through. So we are excited to reintroduce the service in a slightly different format, and have heard from lots of our library patrons that they're excited for us to be back in the community again. Yeah,
and I would imagine that a part of all the process of creating all of this is the idea is to keep it simple, right? The process, which I can validate that it is because I'm a card carrying member and proud to be. And what kind of decisions had to be made, and what was take us through the process of what had to be done to make sure, like, were there guidelines that you had to follow, or there rules, or like what's all involved in that process?
Start it off. Yeah, so I guess in terms of health and safety, that was the foremost priority, right? For both our staff that are recalled to work, but also for the patrons. So there's a lot of discussion about, as you can see on the screen there, just how will we offer this curbside pickup service. One of the things is equipping library staff with proper PPE, but also creating a process where when the public comes to collect their items, it's a very clear, you park in a designated pickup spot, you call into the branch, and we would come out, and it's completely contactless. We would ask that the trunk be open, and as you see there, we set the materials in your trunk. Before that, of course, there's a lot of work in anticipation of that to select your materials, and I'll ask maybe Darlene to speak to that. But certainly the health and safety was the priority. There are some provincial guidelines that were put up regarding curbside pickup and some effective measures that have been put in place by restaurants and grocers that we were able to draw from, some best practice examples, and that was very helpful. But maybe in terms of leading up to and selecting your materials, Darlene can talk about the thought process there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another piece of that was choosing the number of locations that we did. We wanted to ensure that there was good coverage across the county of Lambton. So we were looking at ensuring that we had a library open within each local municipality within the county. And then we wanted to ensure, traditionally, people come to our libraries and will browse through the shelves, and we know that that is no longer possible while our buildings are under the provincial closure order. Yeah. So we were spending a lot of time thinking about how will people still have that experience of browsing the shelves without being able to do that. And that's where we've set up the Reader's Advisory Service, where people can call the telephone numbers I listed earlier, speak with some of our staff members, and complete a bit of a patron profile so we can find out what an individual's preferences might be with what they like to read or watch, so that our staff will be very well equipped to try to put themselves in that person's shoes and choose items that they hope that the patron will enjoy.
The other piece we had to consider was 25,000 items are currently out in circulation amongst the residents of Lambton County, and they all had to be returned. And I mean, the library patrons have responded. We've had thousands of books returned to our book bins across the county, and how we handle that. And we've already had some questions from the public about how will you ensure the materials are safe for curbside pickup afterward. So want to provide that reassurance that we will be quarantining materials for at least 72 hours. In some cases it's more. By the time we get to handle them, they'll be cleaned as well as part of our procedure before going back into circulation for curbside pickup. So a lot of health and safety measures to protect both the public and our staff.
Yeah. What and it's I just think it's fantastic that you're doing this, because as I go back to what I said earlier, that it's important to so many people in many different ways, and aside from entertainment, education, and everything else that happens through those services. What kind of things did you discover along the way of preparing all of this that you maybe went, ooh, didn't think of that, or you were kind of surprised by?
Oh goodness, that is a challenging question. I think maybe what I would say, David, is that we had to we're so used to doing things the way that we do them. So it was a tremendous exercise to kind of pause and to try to re-envision how our service will be if people can't physically come in the building to us. So I would say that it was just a challenge in terms of having a mindset to rethink how we offer library service and how we'll still offer that service, but by doing it outside.
Right. Andrew, what about you? Did you have any comments to add to that?
Yeah, I would say the same. It's just looking at the provincial framework and very quickly having to pivot and adapt our service, right? As Darlene mentioned at the outset, this is not a service we offered in the past. There are systems around us in other communities that do offer curbside pickup service, and we were able to sort of consult with those. But it really was kind of turning on our heels and looking at how can we get reactivated so we can provide our services again to the public in a manner that's safe, but also effective. We want it, as you say, we want it to be very simple and easy to follow. So it was really just quickly trying to make sure that we could get staff back to work and offer the service to the public that has been missed in a way that's safe.
Yeah, and yeah, interesting along the way, I'm sure, and it sounds like a lot of thought has got into this, which is important for sure. What about coming out of this now? Okay, let's say next week they say, okay, library's open, come on in. I'm sure that's considerations happening for right now. And what's that going to look like, or have you figured that out far ahead enough yet?
We've had a lot of discussions about the next stage in the provincial framework, which, as you allude to, sort of the gradual reopening of facilities. Our museums and our gallery, for example, remain closed to the public. So we're looking at when that next lifting of restrictions happens, what does that look like? Could it be timed appointments to enter into the gallery or into a museum, or booking an appointment ahead of time? So limiting the amount of people that access the site. So a lot of now, this service, we're about to put that in place. We're already looking ahead to sort of the next steps that will dictate how we can gradually reopen with the controls that the province puts in place.
One big piece that we have traditionally offered, I would say thousands of library programs. When you look at our 25 locations in any given year, there are likely thousands of programs that we offer, and we haven't been able to do that with COVID-19. So I would suggest that probably within the next short while, an interim step is look at how we could develop some of those programs and deliver those programs online. So that might be an introductory step before we see some more restrictions lifted from the province and some more ability to work with our physical sites.
Right. And what about staff? Like, I mean, if you have to maybe put some of these things in place coming out of into the next phase, will you need more bodies, so to speak, to help with, I don't know, you're going to need people at the door and walking, like, will you need more staff, or you would be able to do it with what you have existing?
Well, I know.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I think it just, that's a difficult question to answer at this point, just because it's difficult to know with the number of locations we have, which ones will remain open with the restrictions. We don't yet know whether there will be capacity limits on certain buildings with the restrictions. So I would say it's a very early, very early days to sort that out, but you might have more to add to that, Andrew.
Yeah, just to say, in this experience with curbside pickup, we found that, just in implementing our training with staff this morning, it wasn't so much about additional staff, but more so how flexible our staff had been, and it was excellent, the training that we had today, everyone's willingness to quickly adapt to provide the service to the community. So I think it's probably looking at, there's a bit of uncertainty as to what our staff complement needs to be to support a new and different service as we move to the lifting of restrictions, but it's also how can we adapt and innovate to serve the public.
Right. What about support from governments? Are you having those conversations directly? I mean, outside of the county, at the provincial and federal level, or do they send you the information? What I'm hearing a lot of times is, here's the information, you decipher it. Is that what you've had to do, or what does that look like?
So some of where our planning started was with the provincial framework, of course, and then out of that there were some guidelines related to certain sector-specific guidelines for delivery of curbside pickup service, for example. So there were some helpful guidelines to help develop that framework. But then I think, Darlene, you can speak to, there's also a lot of professional service organizations that have helped to provide some framework as well.
Mm-hmm. There are some association groups that libraries participate together with, and those groups have been very forthcoming on sharing their plans or sharing their best practices, offering some guidance for other library systems to follow. So there has been some support amongst our colleagues across the province of Ontario, the other library systems.
Very good. Well, I think it's going to be a successful program by the sounds of all the information you've shared here today. Is there anything else you want to add before I let you get back to your new unique positions?
Just a note for our loyal, longtime card-carrying members, yourself included there, David, that for this next little period, because we are quarantining returned books for 72 hours, and some of our libraries are remaining closed and have restricted hours on when those books will be checked in. A lot of library card holders are going to see that books may remain on their record for up to 10 days while they go through that quarantine process. So just a note for people not to be alarmed if they notice that their books haven't come off their record, if they're checking their account online. And to accommodate that, we're also, at the moment, we will not be accumulating any fines or late fines on those materials because we know that items are going to have to sit in quarantine. So just want to reassure our card holders that during this period, we will not be assessing fines or accumulating fines on materials during this COVID time period.
Okay. But that doesn't mean you can keep the book longer. You still need to return it on time.
Yes, because there's library card holders like you and me, David, that are looking for that next great read. So we would certainly very much appreciate that people adhere to the due dates and get their books back. Their books or their DVDs, whatever items they may have borrowed back to the library. We are also asking that in the spirit of it being a contactless service, that our library patrons only return materials to the book return bins or the drop boxes outside of the libraries, and that they do not hand our employees any kind of materials at all, okay? So that remains a contactless process.
Very good. Andrew, did you have anything else to add?
Yeah, just as I look for more information on the specifics of how is it going to be offered, and how are we keeping staff and the public safe. You notice, David, you've got on the screen there, visit lclibrary.ca. We've got a few pages set up that provide the specific locations that are offering curbside, the hours that they're offering curbside, FAQ page about frequently asked questions about how the service will work. So I encourage the public to check out lclibrary.ca for more information.
Very good. Well, thank you both for being here today and informing us. And thanks for your hard work, too, because as I said earlier, again, it's really important to so many people to have this access. So congratulations. And it sounds like it's going to be a great success.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, David.
All right. And come back anytime and when you've got more things happening on at the libraries that we need to know about. There's a lot of cool stuff happening in our libraries.
Absolutely. Will do.
Thanks. Have a great day and stay safe. There you go. Some people at hard work making sure that our libraries are still going to be accessible, adapting in this new world. A whole new world. It's a whole new song now, isn't it? Thank you both to Andrew Meyer and Darlene Koch for joining us here today. All right, now we're back on track. I'm glad they were here because we're going to go back. We're going backwards now, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. We're going to go to our friends from Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Sarnia Lambton. Here is Mike Curry and Kaylen Burgess. Welcome.
Hi, David.
Hi, David.
Mike, I'm actually surprised to see you here. Well, maybe not because of COVID-19, but normally they're forcing you to stay home because you're usually on a mountaintop somewhere, aren't you?
You know what? I'm usually either on a mountain or planning to be on one, and I don't think either are going to happen this year.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of why we're here. We're talking about adapting plans, right? And go ahead, and who wants to start with what we're going to be talking about here with this special fashion show happening down at One Tooth?
I think I'll let Kaylen start because she's the brains behind this.
So we recently had to cancel a few major fundraisers that we had planned since COVID happened in March. So we had to get a little creative and plan a virtual event that we could host online. And we've had some amazing sponsors come through and support this. And so we planned for a virtual fashion show, and we reached out to our friends at One Tooth and asked if they would help take part in the event. So what we're doing, it's a virtual First Friday, this coming Friday, June the 5th. And it's going to be streamed live from One Tooth. And we're asking for donations for the agency. We've been hit hard with the loss of those events. So we're going to stream. David's actually going to do that for us. We hired him because, as you can see, we're not very technical. We were 20 minutes late.
It's okay. It happens all the time, believe it or not.
So we're extra glad that we've got you on board for this one. So Heather and Patty Jo from One Tooth are going to showcase their spring and summer line. And in between that, we're going to just talk about the agency and just get, the community involved in what we're doing and hopefully raise some funds for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Yeah. Do you have an expectation set for this, or are you just kind of going, we don't know what to expect?
You know what I was thinking about this morning, because I remember you asked me that when we did our big squeeze last year, and I really went into that with zero expectations, and the Sarnia Lambton community raised almost $7,000 in lemonade in 4 hours. So I don't want to set my expectations too high because I don't want to be disappointed, but you know, we come from a really supportive community and everyone really comes together, and you know, I think it has the potential to do really well. And if anything, it's, you know, really getting the agency's name out right now, letting you know we are still here, we're still supporting the youth, we're just looking a little bit different as we've had to move some things over. But I don't know. I'll let you know next week how we do.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it'll be positive regardless of the outcome there. And you're right. It's a fantastic community that we live here in Sarnia Lambton. So I'm sure that'll be a great part of the success. Where did this come from? Like, I mean, obviously the whole world is saying, "Oh, live streaming." I've been saying, "Oh, really? What a great idea!" Right? but how did this come about to where it is now?
So we have a really good relationship with the other Big Brothers Big Sisters agencies in Southwestern Ontario, and one of the agencies in St. Thomas ran this about 3 weeks ago. Mike, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So they pulled it together pretty quickly. I think they said they planned theirs in about 10 days, and it was a very similar idea. They had a couple restaurants on board and a local shop like One Tooth, and they did something very similar. So it was nice for us to be able to watch what they did and, you know, change a few things and tweak it to make it fit what would work here in Sarnia, because every town's different, right? And so we picked a couple restaurants to offer some incentives who've supported us in the past, and they've jumped right on board with that. So
actually, David, we've watched how successful you've been over the years in live streaming, and we just thought, you know, if Dave Burrows can do this, we should really give it a shot.
Mike, you're awesome. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, well, and again, even interestingly enough, though, when you say that, Mike, even live streaming for me, I've had to adapt, even though I've already been doing it a long time, because there's that social distancing and stuff, right? So I'm looking forward to doing it, actually.
You've come out to the agency and you know, sort of brought your camera, and we've done things here, but it's a little different for all of us, I guess, in this new age.
Well, and you know what was interesting too is
we're really glad you're on board with us, because you've got a lot more background in it than we do.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. It was really interesting for me too, because I started doing all my show live as I used to go out into the community, and then I started doing it this way. And then I was like, well, I need to get back out there in person to talk to people. And then they apparently didn't like that idea, because then COVID-19 showed up and I had to come back this way again. So and you know, how did the connection with One Tooth come along into all of this? Because I mean, they're both fantastic community supporters, a lot as well, and a local business.
So we've had a really good relationship with Heather and Patty Joe from One Tooth over the last few years since they opened. Really, they've always taken part in our show and sale in November and jumped right on for the spring one when we launched that last year as well. They're always usually one of the first ones to register, and they do great there all weekend. So when we had to cancel, we had an event planned for May 5th this year called the Big Girls Night Out. We were just about to launch it at the end of March when this happened. So One Tooth was involved in that as well. And they reached out to me and just said, you know, if there's anything we can help with during this, let us know. So I did. I reached out to them, and they were right on board with anything they could do. So, I mean, if we didn't have them to do this, we certainly couldn't run this event. So we're so grateful for both of them. And they have a great following, right?
Yes,
I just think we could talk a bit about, you know, Satara and Personal Touch Catering's involvement with this.
Yeah. So Satara and Personal Touch, Chef Presh at Personal Touch, again, they've been longtime supporters. They're involved in a lot of the events we do as well. And so those two I reached out to as well a couple weeks ago and let them know what we were doing. Both of them were involved in the May event that we canceled as well. So I just let them know, you know, we're kind of changing this, similar idea, but an online form. So they've offered a couple of really great incentives for anyone who donates starting on Friday. So Chef Presh from Personal Touch has donated a in-home dinner for 8, and that has an over a $900 value. So how we're doing that is anyone who donates $50 or more to the agency gets a ballot in to win that prize. Satara has donated, anyone over a donation of $25 is going to get a free appetizer with their next order. And they've donated a handful of gift certificates as well for draws.
Wow.
And One Tooth as well has donated a $100 gift card to go in. So, it's kind of, everyone's hurting right now. Everyone's, doing what they can. So we kind of wanted to reach out to our sponsors and ask to give something back for making a donation right now. So like I said, it worked out really well, and we're hoping people can find it in them to donate a little bit to the agency right now.
Yeah. And just another example of local coming together to support our organizations here. There's so many great people in this community. Yeah. When we come out of all of this, and I want to talk about the services of Big Brothers Big Sisters, Sarnia Lambton, and the services. But when we come out of all of this, and people are, you heard me, talking to the folks from the library, when those kind of things open up again, do you still see Big Brothers Big Sisters offering services differently, even after we're allowed to be face to face again?
I think, we're like a lot of people, we're not sure what the future is going to look like. A lot of our programs are in schools, and of course, schools, we haven't heard from Minister Lecce yet as to what schools are going to look like in September. So we're, like everybody, are preparing for a number of different possibilities. Schools be open in September. Will they let other organizations in or not? I guess we have to wait and see. So some of our programming that we have in schools, we've now got a virtual platform set up to do group and one-to-one mentoring virtually. And then we'll have to just monitor the situation. If we're back in the schools, great. If not, we're going to be prepared to be able to still offer support to kids through a virtual platform.
Right. And how is that being received? Is the virtual connection, is it working?
Well, we did a group program. We just started back up about 3 weeks ago. It's our Big Bunch program. So youth that are on the waiting list waiting for a mentor, and it the staff prepared for what that was going to look like. They had the volunteers, all the volunteers stuck with the program. They launched it, and it didn't go quite as expected. I mean, there were some little glitches with technology and getting the kids onto the platform. But then, the kids just basically took over. They were great. Kids were running off to go and get their toys and bring it so they could do they did a virtual show and tell. And so what the staff had planned and what actually ended up happening were two very different things, but it was really wonderful and the kids really enjoyed it. So it looks like there's some possibilities there. And of course, when you think about the kids that we deal with, online, virtual stuff, being connected on Facebook and through different social media is the way they communicate. So they're much better with it than certainly I am. And it looks.
You're learning a couple of things, Mike?
I've learned a few things, yes. You know what? I've done more meetings on Zoom or team meeting or whatever in the last little while. And actually it works, I hated being on, where you do telephone conference calls, because you just don't really feel you're connected to the group. But these virtual sessions are pretty good. I even took part in a virtual team trivia session where they were able to put the teams off in individual rooms, and you discussed your answers, and then you came back to the whole group, and it was really, really well done. It was a lot of fun.
Very good. Kaylen, have you got anything you want to add in here before I move on and let you guys get back with your day?
Yeah, I just, to follow up a little bit with what Mike said, we certainly hope that things get back to normal and we can start providing programs the way we always have. But I think if anything, this has been a huge learning curve for us, and, a wake up call. March 13th, that happened, and we were not in a position to, just like most agencies, to offer virtual mentoring, right? Now we are. Now we're gonna, if anything happens again, we've got it covered. And even just, we're looking at, serving kids in the county who we might have an issue with before because of the distance. It's going to open up a lot of possibilities, I think, for what we can do. So, we're looking at it more of, it's going to be a benefit than anything right now.
Yeah, I would imagine. I know the Big Brothers Big Sisters has huge impact on young lives, right? And I would imagine some of those lives got a little scared when all this happened.
Absolutely.
Now, you know, a lot of the kids that we deal with,
still a positive one.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to, you know, keep in touch with those families and with those youth, and our volunteers are. And I think, you know, it's even more important now for the volunteers that we have to stay in touch with those kids, because, yeah, it's a tough time for all of us, but it's especially tough for some of the kids. I talked to a mom the other day, you know, has a son who's, you know, been really struggling with, you know, reliving some of the trauma that he's had in his life, and has way too much time on his hands now to see that the lights went out. It must mean I'm not moving enough. It thinks I've gone to sleep. But anyways, yeah, it's tough for these kids, and we're very, very, very fortunate to have a supportive community and a great volunteer base that's still connected to those kids.
That's great. And of course, you got to have a host for all of this, Kaylen. Who's the host that's going to handle things that night?
Sarah Woodley has generously donated her time to come in and MC and host the event on Friday. So we're super grateful for her as well.
Yeah. It's going to be a
we're going to stay behind the scenes and let you guys do your thing.
Yeah. I think the only other organization that we haven't made mention of is Blue Water Power.
Yes.
Janice and Michael at Blue Water Power has come forward to be a sponsor of the event. So we're really appreciative of that. She's been a great supporter of our agency and lots of events in the community.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for your efforts. And Mike, I appreciate you doing your best to learn this technology.
Thank you. Thank you. They can teach old dogs new tricks. And
all right. You said it, not me. Both of you, thanks so much for your time. And we'll look forward to seeing you and doing the live stream for you on Friday. We'll be talking about it all week here on my Facebook page.
Wonderful.
Stay safe.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Another local organization adapting to what needs to be done to keep the services rolling, and I guess to keep the money rolling in, right, to keep those services alive. So thank you to Mike Curry and Kaylen Burgess for joining me here and explaining that. And Big Night In happens this Friday, June the 5th at 7 o'clock. It will be live on the One Tooth Sarnia Facebook page. I will be doing the live stream for them. And it's a fashion show of One Tooth Sarnia's spring and summer line. Looking for your donations. Do your best to dig into your pockets and help them out again. And I'll be sharing some more information about what's happening with that on my Facebook page. And we'll post the links to all of these things that we're talking about today after the show on my Facebook. All right, well, some more feel-good stuff. And, you know, this is a really good one because, like, hockey? What happened to hockey? We're going to talk sort of hockey here today. We've got Laura Domingos, director of Lambton, from CSS and Lambton Elderly Outreach. Say that 5 times fast. And my friend Jake Burry from the Sarnia Sting. How are you both doing today?
Very good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Jake, how's your world?
I'm great, Dave. Thank you.
Yeah, you keeping busy with hockey or what? Like.
Yeah, we're keeping busy. We're planning our season in preparation for the 2021 season. We're excited for it. We believe that things are going to go off as planned, and I think you got it right. So we're preparing for that, and we're excited about it.
Yeah, well, looking forward to getting back at it for sure. I know people like Laura really miss the Sarnia Sting already. I think she would honestly prefer. Right? Like, are you a fan or what? Where are you sitting?
Little bit.
This is the Sarnia Sting room at your house.
This is our Sarnia Sting room, yeah. As we all know, unfortunately, the season got cut short this year, and the kids were having a little bit of a hard time adjusting to that. And they came to me one weekend and begged for a Sting room, so I created it for them.
Awesome. I'm not sure that there's a bigger fan than you guys out there, or at least that they would have to really compete hard, wouldn't they?
I don't know. It's tough. Sarnia's got some pretty dedicated fans. It's actually pretty encouraging to see. So I'm sure there's somebody out there that would give us a run for our money.
Well, there's maybe one of the challenges. Well, we're here today because I guess a collaboration is happening here. And before I show what we're going to talk about, give us some background on this.
Well, like I said, we were struggling a little bit with the cut short season this year, and really missing showing our support to the guys, and missing not being able to purchase merchandise and that sort of stuff. So I'd reached out to a girlfriend of mine with an idea. I'd seen the hashtag #COVID posted a few times with the Sarnia Sting through their Instagram and through their social media accounts, and I asked her if maybe she could create something for me. And so she took it, flew with it, and we came up with a pretty cool looking little item here. And yeah, I was super excited when Jake reached out to me and wanted to kind of get together and collaborate on this and make it something worthwhile and get it out there to the community. So kind of how it started.
Are we ready for the reveal?
That's Jake's call.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Puck COVID. Wow. That's pretty
yeah.
Awesome. Jake, how did this all get started on your side of things?
All the credit goes to Laura. We actually had seen her promoting it herself amongst all our other fans through her own social media channel, and she took the ball and ran with it, and to give us the opportunity to align our brand with this is great, and then show our support for the community. And anytime we can help in any way to make this community a better place, and then we're going to do that.
Yeah. And I know that community is important to the Sarnia Sting, but you have to be kind of selective as to who you tie the knot with, so to speak. What was it about this that attracted the Sarnia Sting to partner with this idea?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I mean, you touched on it already. Laura and her family are great fans. They support our club all the time. They're at pretty much, I'd say, almost every game. Would that be correct, Laura?
Yeah, almost
every game. Her kids are big fans, big supporters of ours, and I mean that's what it's all about. We're a community-based hockey team, so when we see people like that supporting us, and we have the opportunity to support them, and not only them, but people who might really need some support right now through Lambton Elderly Outreach, which I'm sure we'll touch on. Then we're going to do that. And it's us to be able to interact with our fans and do something pretty cool. I mean, we can all sit here at home and kind of sulk a little bit, or we can get out there and do something. And Laura presented us with this opportunity, and we're grateful for it, and we're happy to be a part of it. So,
yeah. Laura, for you, explain who you are, I guess. I mean, I know, but, Director of CSS and Leo, what is that?
Yeah, so I'm the Director of Community Support Services at Lambton Elderly Outreach. Basically, all the community support services fall under my direction. So that would be our transportation, our Meals on Wheels, our home maintenance program, and yeah, all of our volunteer services as well. Unfortunately, of course, those have been halted due to COVID, but those are the direct reportees to me. So I've been with Leo now for 11 years. Started out myself as a driver there and just kind of worked my way up. So just to kind of touch on it, Leo has been, of course, providing essential services right from the get-go. We are the only transportation service right now that's being provided still in Sarnia Lambton. So we're partnering up and we're working very closely with Blue Water Health and, of course, the homes that are in outbreak to ensure that their patients are getting where they need to go when they need to go. Same thing with dialysis, for example, cancer treatments, that sort of thing. So unfortunately, a lot of the other agencies that are in town are done mainly on a volunteer basis. And, with everything that's going on, of course, we've got to put people's health at first and foremost. So all of those have been halted, unfortunately, but Leo has stepped up and kind of taken on the reins there, and actually has expanded our service areas as well. We're helping out now in London and Stratford and Bruce County as well. So we're keeping really busy. But
and that's fantastic. You've been able to do that. What's your boss like? I'm only saying that because I know he was watching earlier. He's probably still watching now. Bill, you're
he probably is. He is fantastic. You couldn't ask for a better CEO.
Right on. There you go. I gave you that opportunity. There's obviously been some challenges along the way that I would think are pretty obvious challenges, but what kind of unique challenges have occurred for Lambton Elderly Outreach to have to deal with?
So it's been interesting because we've had a flip from a lot of social activities, or what are deemed social activities, and then of course our medicals. So most of those social activities, of course, have been canceled, such as church and unfortunately day programs and that sort of thing. But we've seen an increase on the other end with picking up rides from other agencies that aren't able to provide those. So there's been a huge increase in costs with regards to PPE. I'm sure you're all aware that the markup has just gone skyrocket on those things. You used to get a mask for $1, you're now paying
Don't
like
get me
$2
started.
for a mask and that sort of thing. So we're of course governed by the health board and public health, and there are certain expectations we have to meet. But at Leo, of course, we're going above that to ensure that our clients are protected just as well as our employees. So there's been a lot of it's a learning process. We're learning more every day. Yeah, it's constantly changing. And like I said, I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking, David. I'll get off here and I'll check my email, and something that was there 5 minutes ago has changed since then, right? So it's just constant evolving. Yeah.
Well, and of course, you're kind of busy with bingo these days, aren't you?
This is true as well. Yes, that's a fun night though.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
And that's broadcast here too.
What's that?
I said, and we do that right from the Sting room as well.
Yeah. Stinger getting lots of attention, boy. We better go back and see what the Sarnia Sting. What are the plans, Jake? How is this? The obvious again to you having to adapt. This virtual world. Coming back out of this, I would imagine there's going to be some changes. I even think of myself as the person who gets to ask the questions after the game, what that might look like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've heard it 1,000 times. These are unprecedented times. So we really, truth be told, Dave, we don't know exactly what that's going to look like. But and we're not going to try and pretend like we might have the answer. I'm certainly not a medical professional. We'll leave that to them. But we do go into it with a mindset that we do believe in mankind and in humans in general, right? And I think that at some point we'll get through this, and we'll be able to at some point pack the hive, as we like to call it, again together and celebrate goals and embrace each other again, right? So we're going to prepare for that, but of course we're going to follow all the guidelines that are laid out by our government and medical professionals to make sure that the safety of our fans is first and foremost. But again, we're going into it believing that we will be back, and we're going to fill the arena, and we're going to go on a run, and there's going to be a lot to celebrate. So we're really excited. There's a lot of potential with the Sarnia Sting, and we're really excited about this partnership. And if our Puck COVID campaign with a couple of other things that we're working on can help speed that process or help someone who might need it the most in this community, then we're happy to focus on that right now.
Yeah, very good. Well, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting back there too, just to feel the vibe in the hive, right? It's a lot of great fans here in this community, and it's looking like a pretty good team. Well, that's another show maybe, but I've been following along pretty closely with that.
For sure.
And you've had to adapt in the office as far as like you're working from home now. Is everybody working from home, or do you still go into the office?
Yeah, we do periodically go into the office to socially distance, interact, as they call it. But we do a lot of working from home. We're all on Zoom. You mentioned it with Mike there, the old dog, new tricks. So a lot of people are having to adapt and learn how to use technology. And we are doing Zoom calls, and we're working business as usual. Dave, to go back to answer your question, preparing for the season.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. And we're looking forward to launching this too. Touch on that real quick. In the next couple of days, Laura and I are just working out some logistics, but you can get these shirts to help support all the great things that they do there at Lambton Elderly Outreach and help support that. All the profits from these shirts will go to them. So we're excited about that. You can keep an eye on all our social media channels. I'm sure Leo's, I'm sure yours as well, Dave. For more information on how you can go and get these and on what the money's going towards.
Yeah. And how much are the shirts? We haven't even talked about that. I didn't know.
Yeah. So again, Laura and I are just working out some final touches. We'll have it done here in the next day or so, and you'll see all that come launch here in the next day or so.
Okay, perfect.
With all the information you need.
Because I'm going to need a few.
All right. Sounds good. We'll reserve a couple, right, Laura?
Write me down. It's really nice to see. We talk about this community, but when collaborations like this happen, it's really powerful. And I would imagine too, Jake, on your side of things, I know for me even too, it's forced me to be creative, extra creative. Is the Sarnia Sting going to take maybe advantage of this situation to be more creative in the things that they do? I know you've always got a lot of things going on in your head there.
Absolutely, Dave. You and I have had some good conversations about this, right? And you have to. You either have to adapt or you fall behind. So we're going to have to get creative, and we're going to have to come up with some unique and fun ways to engage with people who don't feel comfortable coming to the rink. So we're going to engage with them from the comfort of their own home, and we're going to have to come up with some creative ways and put our thinking caps on. I look forward to talking more about that with you.
Yeah, my wheels are turning too.
They always
Laura,
are.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Laura, what about just before I let you go? The coming out of all of this, I always ask this question. Okay, so we're allowed to see each other face to face. We're maybe allowed to hug, whatever, because there's a lot of compassion that comes from the people that work at Lambton Elderly Outreach as well. I know most of the people that work there, and I would say all of them are very sincere about their job, but they're not able to hug right now, and people, even introverts, need that social interaction. How is that being handled, and how is that impacting the people that you service?
Yeah, it is very difficult. I have obviously we've had to lay off some of our field staff when our stuff went down, and I had one of my drivers stop in just the other day, and instantly I wanted to hug him, and I went for the hug, and I had to pull back and went, oh yeah, I forgot, right? So it's so hard because you're right. It's one of those things that a lot of the times our clients, that is the only interaction they're having is with our driver, with our PSW, on the phone even. A lot of the times that is the only interaction that they have. And, I was listening to your previous guests and the mental health as well. And it's just as important, obviously, as physical health. And so, my heart goes out to our clients that a good portion of our clients are our LCDS clients, for example. We transport all of those day programs. And so it is really hard right now to kind of think about what those guys are going through without that interaction, without that socialization, because it really truly is important to the well-being of everyone's mental health. So I'm just looking forward to getting back to that. I can probably withhold the hugs for a little bit longer if I have to, but I just want to be able to see people be able to come together and sit in a room and have a coffee and have that interaction. So as long as we get there and I can be at the Hive on a Friday night for $5 beer night, I'm good to go.
There you go.
There you go.
I agree. I've struggled. I'm a huggy for a guy. I'm a pretty huggy guy too. So I've had to catch my. Oh yeah, I can't do that, right?
Yeah, it's hard.
So it is. Us huggers, we struggle. So no, it's good that you've been able to do some adapting there, though, to provide as much as you can with the services. And you talked earlier about how you've expanded the reach as far as how far you go, and that takes money. So this is really going to be a big help for all of that.
Yeah, like I said, we are mandated by Health Canada. We're mandated by certain health standards, but at Leo, we're taking it up a notch just to ensure, and those precautions are going to stay in place. Even when COVID is over, certain things are going to stay in place. I'm having to install, we're choosing to install, the plastic barriers behind our driver's seats to give a little bit more protection there. Not mandated by Health Canada by any means, but again, it's just that added protection, not just for our employees, but our clients as well.
Absolutely.
A lot of them have compromised immune systems, and so we're going above and beyond. But like you said, it does take dollars, and we don't really know where everything stands right now. I'm sure we're all aware of the announcements that are coming out throughout different government levels, but where things stand, we really don't have a clue. So these are all expenses that we're just incurring and hoping we're going to figure it out somewhere along the way.
Yeah. Well, the new word of the day is unprecedented, and the other new words is there's no crystal ball, right?
Exactly. That's right.
But we're doing the best that we can. Congratulations to the Sarnia Sting and to Lambton Elderly Outreach for creating this partnership and putting it all together. Either one of you got anything you want to throw out there before I let you get back to your day?
No, I hope you're all doing well, and I really look forward to working more with Lambton Elderly Outreach and all the great things that they do to help those who need it the most. And like I said, I can't wait to get back to Sting hockey. I'm really missing it, and I look forward to seeing you both back there.
Absolutely.
Thank you both for being here today. And go Sting, go, and stay safe, everybody. We appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome. All right, well, there you go. Jake Bory from the Sarnia Sting and Laura Domingos from Lambton Elderly Outreach talking to us about this great partnership. Let's show it one more time. Puck COVID. What a great idea. And the Sarnia Sting and Lambton Elderly Outreach, or LEO as we like to call them, working together to make things work. And that's just really what it takes. Another example, I say it all the time, this fantastic, amazing community that we live. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. Why would you want to live anywhere else? Everybody moved to Sarnia Lambton, right? Okay. Thanks to all of my guests for being here today. I do appreciate their time. And I will be posting links on the Facebook page to the sites for all the information of our guests that we talked to today. And grateful for the county stopping by to talk to us about the new curbside pickup for the library system. And then, of course, we had Big Brothers Big Sisters getting ready for their first Friday, a big in night and a fashion show. Why am I having trouble talking today? The fashion show that's happening on Friday, June the 5th. It's a good thing Sarah Woodley's being the host, because maybe I wouldn't be able to talk by then. And, of course, Sarnia Sting and Lambton Elderly Outreach. And all of you, I hope you're doing well and staying safe, as our friend Jake Bory wished to all of you. I wish you the same. Stay safe. That's all the time I got for you this week, everybody. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will see you next time right here on the show. Bye for now.